I think I'm one of the luckiest people in the world because I have the best job that I could dream of. As the director of innovation at a global leading media company, I spend my days trying to invent new ways to entertain, educate, and inform people like you and me. And I even get paid for it. But sometimes I ask myself, how did I really get here? Why me? And does it matter at all that it's me? I don't have the answers. But what I do know is that I'm pretty good at asking useless questions like these. And so maybe this is exactly what brought me here today. When I was in high school, I really didn't know what I wanted to do when I grew up. And so I allowed myself the freedom to study something that most people consider totally useless: philosophy. Philosophy concerns itself with questions that have no right or wrong answer and no direct application to our daily lives. Why are we here? Are we free? Are we even conscious? If you think about it, philosophy made such little progress that today we're still asking the very same questions that philosophers in ancient Greece were asking thousands of years ago. So after graduating in something that many people consider completely useless, I started off as the first employee of a startup, which now is operating across 3 continents and is valued at over $2 billion. But unfortunately, I failed to recognize that it would ever create anything useful for anyone. I refused an equity offer and decided to move on. I guess I didn't ask myself the right questions. And so I moved on to take what I thought was a serious job at a large management consulting firm, where I tried to learn how to ask relevant and important questions to the leaders of Fortune 500 companies and public sector institutions, even the Vatican. But you see, I'm a millennial, and that wasn't cool enough. I wanted to make an impact, do something meaningful. But I also wanted flexible working hours, free smoothies, colorful bean bags, lunchtime yoga sessions, and ping pong tables. And so I changed a couple of positions and I tried out the free smoothies until I realized that actually what makes me the happiest and most fulfilled in life is not so much the free stuff, which, don't take me wrong, is certainly still quite important, but the feeling that I'm doing what I'm really best at. And in my case, that's asking useless questions. And that's exactly what I do today. I walk around, I talk to people, and I ask them questions that have no right or wrong answer and no direct application to what I'm looking for. What are you up to this weekend? Why do you support your team and your country at the World Cup? Why are you on Facebook? My plan is to look for unexpected answers to these questions. Let me explain. A study by an American author and researcher called Pagan Kennedy found that most discoveries happened unexpectedly. So that means that the discovery was not what the inventor was originally looking for. Let's take, for example, 3 famous discoveries, like penicillin, microwaves, and cornflakes. When their inventors, Fleming, Spencer, and the Kellogg brothers, respectively, woke up on those fine mornings, they did not set off to invent the things that are famous for. In the case of Fleming, he was looking for something quite related, which was a cure to human diseases. In the case of Spencer, he was looking for something completely unrelated, and that is a way to improve combat radars during the Second World War. And the Kellogg brothers, actually, they weren't looking for anything at all. In fact, they just forgot a pot of boiled wheat on the stove for too long. Of course, they later realized that corn tasted better, especially when you add sugar to it. But what they all have in common is that their discoveries occurred as a result of observing and getting interested in an unexpected event. So when Fleming noticed that some mold growing on one of the petri dish he was working with had killed the bacteria he was investigating, he could have decided to start the experiment again. Instead, he asked himself, why? When Spencer noticed that the radar he was working with had melted the chocolate bar in his pocket, he could have decided to eat the chocolate bar as quickly as possible, wipe his fingers, and forget about it. Instead, he asked himself, why? And the Kellogg brothers, well, actually, I have no clue why they decided to taste those dry flakes coming out of boiled wheat. But they did. And they also probably asked themselves why. But if that's the way that great discoveries are made, then I'm doomed to fail. That's because to come up with great new inventions, I have to first wait for something unexpected to happen, and second, hope that I can notice. But great inventors like Fleming, Spencer, and the Kellogg brothers made one major discovery in their entire lives. So what makes me think that I can invent something meaningful in the next few years? Because I can certainly tell you my firm is not going to wait a lifetime until I invent something. I don't know if I will succeed, but I can try. I can try to improve my chances of making unexpected discoveries. I do that by asking questions. What philosophy taught me is that behind every big question that you're trying to answer, for example, can computers think? There is a much bigger question behind. What does it mean to think? Now, the benefit of asking the bigger question is that it gives you the opportunity of finding more interesting and unexpected answers. By expanding the scope of your question, you allow for more observations and more insights to come through. And listen, this is a very simple concept. It's really nothing revolutionary. But it works for me. So let's try it together. If I asked you, what could I do to improve the experience of watching TV that you have? You would probably tell me that I can improve the screens that you use to watch TV, that I can improve the programs that you currently watch, and I can improve the content that goes in it. But these things I knew already. Now, what if instead I asked you, what do you do for fun and why? Your answer will be broader than watching TV. I hope. And I hope will give me the chance of finding something unexpected about you that many other people like you share, and use these insights to create something that you really want. And maybe it will be new ways of watching TV. But maybe it will be something completely different. And maybe it will even replace the experience of watching TV as we currently know it. But as long as this is something that you really want, and many other people like you as well, isn't that what really matters? Whatever your question is, try this out. Don't ask your teams, how can I be a better manager? Ask them, why do you need a manager? Don't ask yourself, how can I be happier? Ask yourself, what does it mean to be happy? The answers and the unexpected discoveries that you will find, I believe, will be greater. But now if you think about it, if the way to be a great new inventor is to come up with lots of questions and be very curious about everything, then my 8-year-old sister Matilde is actually much better qualified to be an inventor than either me or you are. But luckily for us, she's still too young. And importantly, she hasn't studied philosophy yet. But what me and you can learn from Matilde, and many other children like her, is that asking big questions is fun and can lead you to all sorts of unexpected adventures and discoveries that might change the world. But to actually change the world, that's not enough. You'll have to act on those discoveries and do something out of them. But if you have asked the questions, at least you would have started the journey. And so let me help you start your journey today and ask you, what is your next big question? Thank you.